There was a stillness in the air when she first walked into the shooting range. Eyes followed her, some amused, some dismissive. A black woman, walking tall with braided hair down her back, and a quiet dignity, holding a weapon most thought she had no business even touching. The whispers started small, curling through the room like smoke. Snickers, sideways glances, the shake of heads as if her very presence was a joke. She said nothing. She didn't need to, because she understood something that too many forget. Mockery cannot break a spirit that knows its own worth. She placed her stance, gripped her tool with precision, breathed in slow, controlled, the way she'd trained herself to under pressure. In that moment, she was not shooting to prove herself to them. She was shooting to honor every hour spent mastering her craft, every early morning, every trembling hand that grew steadier with time, every "you can't" that she had transformed into "watch me." The range grew silent as she raised the weapon. The shot rang out clean, sharp, perfect, dead center. The paper target fluttered slightly in the air, its heart split open with a hole so clean you could see daylight through it. The room, once filled with laughter, was stunned into a heavy, stunned silence. There were no words left to say, because excellence speaks a language that mockery cannot answer. She smiled not in triumph over others, but in pride for herself. She understood that today was not about the people who doubted her. It was about every girl who needed to see that you can walk into a room where you are mocked, and leave that same room having redefined what is possible. She had carried not just a weapon in her hand, but the weight of a world full of assumptions on her shoulders. And with a single shot, she set both free. Bias and prejudice have always been powerful forces that shape human perception, often blinding individuals to the true nature and capabilities of others. In countless areas of life, from education to employment, from sports to even a simple visit to a shooting range, preconceived notions about race, gender, and background can create invisible barriers that limit understanding and stunt collective progress. Bias acts like a veil that clouds the eyes, making it difficult to see people as they truly are. Prejudice, once formed, clings tightly to the mind, reinforcing false ideas even in the face of clear evidence to the contrary. Together, they create a world where talent is overlooked, strength is doubted, and potential is suffocated before it even has a chance to breathe. The tragic thing about bias is that it often operates quietly, unconsciously. Many who carry it are unaware of the assumptions they make until they are challenged. A black woman entering a space traditionally dominated by men, or dominated by another race, is often seen first through the lens of stereotype rather than individuality. Before she even speaks, before she even acts, judgments are made about her competence, her belonging, her worth. These judgments are rarely based on fact or experience. They are the result of stories society has told again and again, stories that suggest who belongs where, who is likely to succeed, and who is destined to fail. When bias goes unchecked, it robs both the individual and the community. The individual faces unnecessary hurdles, constantly being asked to prove themselves in ways others are not. Their skills must be sharper, their mistakes fewer, and their resolve stronger, just to be considered equal. Meanwhile, the community loses access to the full range of talent, innovation, and leadership that diverse individuals could bring. Prejudice creates an environment where potential is not cultivated but crushed, and where the collective growth of society is slowed because not everyone is allowed to contribute fully. In moments where bias is challenged, when the reality of someone's excellence crashes through the fragile wall of prejudice, there is often a stunned silence. Those who doubted are forced to confront the uncomfortable truth that their assumptions were wrong. Yet, these moments are more than just personal victories. They are opportunities for transformation. They serve as powerful reminders that skill, talent, and greatness do not come packaged in a particular skin color, gender, or background. They come from discipline, passion, hard work, and an unyielding spirit. The experience of being judged unfairly can be heavy, exhausting, and deeply painful. It requires an extraordinary amount of emotional intelligence and resilience not to internalize the mockery and doubt of others. It takes courage to continue walking into spaces where you know you will not be welcomed at first, where you will be seen as an outsider. But in doing so, in standing tall in the face of such adversity, individuals not only claim their own space, they expand the boundaries for everyone who comes after them. Education is one of the most critical tools in dismantling bias. When people are exposed to diverse stories, when they are taught to question their assumptions and to engage with those different from themselves, the roots of prejudice can begin to loosen. Empathy grows when we move beyond surface-level judgments and genuinely seek to understand another person's journey. This growth is not only important for creating a more just society, it is essential for innovation, progress, and collective strength. Ultimately, recognizing and overcoming bias is not just about fairness to the individual, it is about creating a world where every person's potential can flourish. When we allow ourselves to see people as they are, rather than through the distorted lens of prejudice, we open the door to a richer, more vibrant human experience. We give ourselves the chance to learn, to grow, and to be inspired by talents and perspectives we might otherwise have missed. Bias and prejudice will not disappear overnight. They are deeply ingrained and often reinforced by history, culture, and fear. But every time a black woman steps confidently into a space where she was doubted, every time her skill silences mockery, she chips away at those ancient walls. She shows the world and reminds herself that her value is not defined by the low expectations of others. It is defined by her own truth, her own excellence, and her own unstoppable spirit. There are moments in life when the noise of mockery feels deafening, when the laughter of doubters rings louder than your own inner voice. In those moments, it would be easy to falter, to let the sneers and whispers drown out the steady beat of determination within. But history, experience, and human spirit have shown that inner strength, the quiet, unshakable belief in one's own worth, can rise above mockery with a force that silences even the loudest critics. Inner strength is not something that appears overnight. It is forged in the fires of struggle, disappointment, and perseverance. It grows every time a person chooses to believe in their own potential when others doubt it. It strengthens each time someone stands up after being pushed down, each time they continue to move forward when the easier path would have been to retreat. When mockery comes, as it often does to those daring enough to step outside the lines drawn for them, inner strength acts as a shield. It reminds the soul that the opinions of others are just that, opinions, not facts, not destiny, not reality. There is a special kind of courage required to persist when surrounded by skepticism and ridicule. It is a courage rooted not in anger or bitterness, but in self-respect and clarity of purpose. Those who possess it understand that mockery is often a reflection of the mocker's own fears and insecurities rather than a true assessment of one's abilities. They realize that ridicule is a tool used by those who feel threatened by difference, by excellence, by the possibility that someone they underestimated might prove them wrong. Inner strength allows a person to remain focused on their goal, to hear the noise but not be controlled by it. It enables them to transform negativity into fuel, to let every mocking word harden their resolve rather than weaken it. In many ways, those who mock inadvertently contribute to the very greatness they try to suppress, for they force the strong to become even stronger. The triumph of inner strength over mockery is often a quiet victory. It is not always about dramatic confrontations or grand speeches. Sometimes it is simply about showing up, about doing the work with integrity and excellence, about letting actions speak louder than insults. The person mocked for daring to step into a space where they were not expected, whether it be a shooting range, a boardroom, a classroom, or a stage, often wins not by engaging in petty battles, but by achieving undeniable success. Their success becomes a mirror, reflecting back the smallness of those who try to diminish them. It is a testament to the idea that dignity, skill, and resilience command a respect that mockery can never erase. True inner strength is deeply personal, but universally inspiring. When one person stands tall in the face of mockery, they light a path for others to follow. They demonstrate that it is possible to carry wounds without being defined by them, that it is possible to face ridicule without letting it shape your self-image. Their example teaches that worth is not granted by the approval of the crowd but is inherent, earned through perseverance, shaped by effort, and validated by excellence. They become living proof that belief in oneself can overcome even the fiercest storms of doubt thrown by others. Education plays a vital role in cultivating this kind of strength, teaching people, especially young people, that they have inherent value and the right to pursue any dream they choose helps build a foundation that mockery cannot easily shake. Encouraging self-reflection, emotional resilience, and a deep understanding of one's own worth prepares individuals not just to survive mockery, but to rise above it with grace and power. By teaching the difference between constructive criticism and baseless ridicule, we empower people to listen selectively, to grow where they can, and to disregard where they must. Inner strength is, ultimately, a choice. It is the choice to define oneself not by the voices around you, but by the voice within you. It is the choice to keep moving forward when it would be easier to turn back. It is the choice to trust in a future that mockery seeks to deny. Those who make this choice do not simply endure, they inspire. They create new possibilities not only for themselves, but for everyone watching. Their journey becomes a living testament to the idea that while mockery is loud, fleeting, and shallow, true strength is quiet, enduring, and infinitely deep. Skill is never something gifted at random or assumed based on appearance, background, or stereotypes. It is a product of discipline, perseverance, focus, and countless unseen hours of labor. Skill is earned through the grind of practice, the humility of failure, and the patience to improve day by day. It does not come stamped onto a person because of how they look, where they come from, or what others expect of them. Skill is democratic. It belongs to anyone willing to work hard enough to claim it. Yet so often, assumptions get in the way of recognizing this truth. People are quick to judge who will be good at something and who will not, based purely on superficial factors. They look at someone's skin color, gender, age, or accent and make silent calculations about their potential. These assumptions are not only unfair, they are deeply foolish, because true skill has nothing to do with these surface-level traits. It is the product of unseen battles of early mornings, late nights, repeated failures, stubborn determination, and quiet, steady improvement. Every person who achieves mastery in anything, whether it be at a shooting range, in a laboratory, on a sports field, or behind a musical instrument, knows intimately the price that was paid for that excellence. They know the moments of self-doubt that had to be conquered, the sacrifices made, the relentless pursuit of better. Mastery is not glamorous when you are in the middle of earning it. It is often lonely, tedious, and filled with small, invisible victories that the outside world never sees. By the time someone displays true skill publicly, they have already fought and won 1,000 private battles. Those who judge without knowing this journey expose their ignorance, not the character of the person they doubt. It is important to teach that skill is earned because believing otherwise leads to systemic injustice. If society assumes that only certain people are capable, it opens doors for some while slamming them shut for others. It excuses laziness in judgment and denies opportunities to those who have worked hard to deserve them. A fair world is one that judges ability based on evidence on performance, dedication, and results, not on lazy assumptions or outdated prejudices. True meritocracy is not about giving everyone an equal outcome, but giving everyone an equal chance to show what they can do. There is also a deep dignity in the process of earning skill. Those who develop expertise know their own strength in a way that cannot be easily taken from them. They understand that their value is built on a solid foundation, not a shaky pedestal of others' approval. They do not need validation from a crowd, because they have validated themselves through their own work. When they perform with excellence, it is not an accident or a lucky break. It is the rightful harvest of seeds sown through patience and hard work. This is why true skill commands respect when it is displayed openly. Even the most stubborn bias can be shaken when faced with undeniable ability. Excellence has a power to disrupt assumptions, to humble arrogance, and to force even skeptics to reconsider their prejudices. In education, emphasizing that skill must be earned is one of the greatest gifts we can offer young minds. It teaches responsibility for growth. It encourages resilience in the face of failure. It replaces the myth of innate superiority with the truth of earned achievement. When young people learn that they can build mastery in any area they choose, if they are willing to do the work, they become empowered in a way that no assumption or mockery can diminish. They realize that their future is not determined by how others see them, but by how they choose to shape themselves. Skill is also a lifelong pursuit. It does not end with a diploma, a trophy, or a moment of success. Those who are truly skilled continue to refine, to learn, to push their limits. They know that excellence is not a fixed point but a journey. This mindset, once cultivated, creates a resilience that can withstand criticism, competition, and even failure. It fosters a character rooted in humility and strength, capable of achieving far more than those who rely on assumptions rather than effort. Ultimately, skill reminds us that human potential is vast and unpredictable. It can be found in places others overlook. It can bloom in faces that others dismiss, and it can rise from circumstances that others deem impossible. Skill is not assumed. It is not inherited. It is not gifted based on appearances. It is earned with sweat, sacrifice, courage, and endless heart, and in the end, that truth speaks louder than any prejudice, any mockery, or any doubt.